Which you guys got another video on why you should update your motherboard BIOS, and also I'll show you how to do it as well. So first thing you're going to need to do is find system information on your system, and this is going to give you information about your motherboard and your motherboard BIOS and what revision of motherboard you're using. You can see it right here. You don't need to go into the BIOS to find this information. It will give you the baseboard product and also the revision of that motherboard. You can see mine is revision 1 and it's a Tough Gaming X870E Plus Wi-Fi 7. That's what it is there. It's an ASUS motherboard. We can see it's a UEFI BIOS, and we've got the SM BIOS version right here, 3.6, and the BIOS version and date, which is the important bit, which is this one right here, which it says 0208, and there's comma 24/04/2025. So we know that is the date of the BIOS and the version of BIOS that we're using right here, 0208. So what we can do now is go over to the manufacturer's website by typing in the motherboard model number. And from that page, we can just basically go to the support area and check which BIOSes are available. Now, I'll go into more detail about why you should be updating your BIOS today rather than using the old if it ain't broke, don't fix it method, which was something that we used to do back in the day. So hit the support button. Now, if you've got a different brand of motherboard, it will be the same place. It will be a support button that you need to click on. Then go to driver and tools and then BIOS and firmware. This will give you a BIOS, which is the very latest BIOS at the very top of the page here. You can see this BIOS is version 1804, and it says the size of the BIOS, and it says the date, which is 2025/11/16. So we know our BIOS is outdated by quite a bit. We can check and show all of the BIOSes that were available for this motherboard, and we're going to go ahead and do that right here. So let's go all the way down until we find the BIOS which we have on our system, and it's right at the very bottom here. You can see. Now, this is really important. You can see BIOS version 0208. That is the BIOS I have, and it's basically telling me it is the first release of that motherboard. This is very common because when manufacturers make motherboards like these, they sit in the warehouse for a number of months, and that BIOS can get very outdated very, very quickly. A newer BIOS version often includes support for new CPUs, newer RAM, and also new GPUs, and also storage devices like your NVMe drives. So it's important that you use the very latest motherboard BIOS updates for these. You can see before running this BIOS flashback tool, please rename the BIOS. It's telling you right there. There is a little tool inside here that tells you what the BIOS name needs to be. It's a bunch of numbers, and it says .cap in the ASUS website version. If yours is an MSI, it will be something different. So let's take a look and download the very latest BIOS for this motherboard, because we are going to flash it. We are going to need a USB flash drive, and this flash drive has also got some stuff on it. So what we need to do is format it. Now, the format needs to be FAT32. So you can see the file system for this is NTFS. So I'm going to quickly go to the disk management section in Windows, and we will take a look at this drive and delete these volumes. So let's go to disk management by right clicking on the start button here. And from here, you'll see there is our USB flash drive. So what I'm going to do is we're going to delete these partitions here. So right click on these and click delete. And once we've deleted all of these volumes on this drive, you'll see it will say unallocated space, and we can then right click and create a new simple volume for the whole of the drive. And what we're going to do here is create a simple volume by just clicking next and next. And you can see it's asking us, do we want to do a file system of FAT32 or NTFS or whatever it is you want to set yours up. You can put a name in here. I'm going to just say BIOS here and click next and leave it as FAT32. Click finish. And that's going to prepare it for us. Now it's telling me the drive is raw. So let me go to the system here on our Windows PC. And I'm going to right click on this and format it as FAT32 from there. And this normally fixes the issue. So let's go ahead and do that right here. Click, right click, format, FAT32, give it a volume label name. I'm going to say update. It doesn't really matter because I'll always format these drives and use them for jobs that I do on PCs. So we're going to click OK, and it's going to wipe that drive and create a blank USB flash drive as FAT32 right there. Now our drive has been prepared, it's been wiped, and it's been created as a FAT32, and it's blank, and it's ready for our BIOS update file, so we can use this to flash the BIOS. So let's go ahead and get that done. This is the actual file we've just downloaded from the website. Going to right click and extract all of that into our USB flash drive. So let's go ahead and do that right here. We can browse the location and choose our blank USB flash drive. Going to go ahead and choose this one right here. Click select. And there you can see it says D drive. And now we just let that copy over. Once it's done, we can use the auto renaming tool that ASUS have supplied. So let's go ahead and do that right here. Just going to close some of these windows off. And now we have our BIOS on here, but it's not prepped and ready for use yet because we need to rename it. So let's go ahead and use the renamer. Double click on it and a black prompt box will pop up here. And it says, do you want to continue? It's telling you exactly what it's going to do. It's just going to rename the file to the number and .cap, which is what it was recommending on the website. There it is right there. You don't have to delete the rename tool. It's not going to hurt it. You can leave everything as is, but if you want to tidy things up, you can delete that file, but as long as you leave the update file. Now, I just want to go back to the website and have a look at the manual and documents here and show you this is where you can get the manual and documents for your motherboard. This is important because it's going to give you all the useful information that you might need about your motherboard and how to carry out certain tasks like flashing or updating the BIOS. So I'm going to choose the language as English right here, and this will open up the document. So let's go to the index right here, and I can already see it's in chapter 3, BIOS and RAID support. That is where we need to be looking. So let me scroll down a bit and I'll show you how we can navigate to this. This is for people that really are not familiar with how to flash their BIOS, and it will give you all the information that you need to know about updating or flashing your BIOS. This is the section right here, and we need to go to page 48 for easy flash free, and we're going to go ahead and do that on the left hand side. We can scroll right the way down and we can click on the actual page 48. So from there you can now see it's given us all the information that we need about ASUS Easy Flash Free. Tells you the important information. It also tells you about to update your BIOS. It gives you some cautions as well to take note of. It also tells you that the flash drive needs to be FAT32 or FAT16, and it also tells you it needs to be in a single partition only, and it tells you not to do anything silly while you're flashing the BIOS. Just leave the system well alone, otherwise you can end up causing major failure. So it tells you to insert the flash drive into any USB port if you're using this method. I just also want to point out here, there is no rolling back to a previous BIOS once you've used the latest BIOS. It tells you right here on the BIOS page. So it's important to know all of this information before you flash the BIOS on a motherboard. Now, what does flashing the BIOS do? Well, it fixes crashes and boot issues, important motherboard stability fixes. It can fix any sort of bugs on the system that are causing problems. It can apply security vulnerability patches, improve secure boot support, and better protect you against firmware attacks. It also improves memory timings, optimize power delivery, give better CPU support, and also enhance CPU performance. Now, a thing to remember, the old saying was, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And unfortunately, those days are gone. It's important to keep the BIOS updated. Otherwise, you could run into issues like Jay's 2 cents was having with the Phison controller with his NVMe drive. It was basically disappearing and causing all sorts of problems. And that's because he was using an old BIOS instead of using the latest BIOS for that motherboard. Now, before you overwrite your BIOS with a new one, it is going to reset all of your settings in the BIOS. That's all your XMP settings, your boot settings, your overclocks, and all your other settings that you have set inside the BIOS. If you've got a brand new motherboard like this one, having the first release BIOS is definitely worth updating to the latest version. Plug in your USB flash drive. It doesn't have to be in any particular port. I'm plugging this in the front of the computer right here. And during the boot up process, you will see what keys to press to enter the BIOS setting. On this BIOS, it is enter the delete key or del key or F2 key. Yours might be different, so check that very first screen prompt and it will tell you what key to press. From here, we're inside the BIOS and we're in easy mode inside the BIOS right now. So if we want to flash this BIOS, we're going to go to advanced mode. You do get information about the BIOS up the very top here. It says BIOS version 0208 at the very top and the CPU information and everything else. But we're going to go to advanced mode because that's where we get more information freely available on the front screen. So let's go ahead and do that. It's on the bottom right hand side off screen here. I've got an ultra wide monitor. So when I click that straight away, it's going to give you a nice clear information here on the screen. So right here is all the information that you need: BIOS version, BIOS date, and that is what we're going to be updating right here. Now, days gone by, we used to say only update your BIOS when you have new hardware and you're having a compatibility issue, or only update the BIOS when this addresses a security vulnerability by using that update, or if you're experiencing any sort of problems, you can update the BIOS and it claims to fix these issues. But I think these times are now gone. You can't just sit on old BIOSes and not updating them anymore. So we're going to go up to the tool section right here and use the Easy Flash utility. From here, you'll see that it's already recognized the BIOS on the right hand sides, and it's telling me that this is the BIOS that we have on this USB flash drive. It'll automatically detect it. So I'm going to click on this and it's going to say important notice. Now it's telling you to back up your BitLocker recovery key and suspend the BitLocker encryption on that system before you continue to flash the motherboard BIOS. If you are using BitLocker at this stage, I would not advise going forward with the BIOS flash until you completely sort that out. Otherwise, you can end up causing yourself a lot of problems. If you've read all the information, you're happy to continue, click yes. It's going to ask you, did you read the information on that screen? I have, and I'm going to say yes, I want to continue. And it will give you another warning as well. Do you really want to update your BIOS? And it will give you information about what will happen during this process. You will not be able to roll back your BIOS after updating your BIOS. And you might get a few restarts during this process. The process will take a bit of time. I'll speed this process up. But you can see process updating areas on the board. And I'll speed this up so you don't sit here through the whole process. It says update successful. Please restart the PC. And it will say BIOS is now updating. Do not turn the PC off at this stage. Be patient. Let it finish its process. And remember, this is putting all your BIOS back to default settings. So you may need to go in and make some adjustments into BIOS. And you can see one adjustment is CPU fan speed detection error. That needs to be turned off. And also I need to put on my Expo here for my memory. And I need to do a bunch of other settings inside my BIOS. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. But you can see the BIOS version has now been updated. And we've got that version that we just flashed to the motherboard. And this should also give us the very latest release. Now, it's really important if you've just bought a brand new motherboard and it's got the first release on there, there's probably going to be a lot of bug fixes and a lot of issues that are going to be fixed by rolling out the latest firmware update on that motherboard. That's just my opinion. Anyway, with that said, I'm going to make these changes. And my name has been Brian from briteccomputers.co.uk. That is why you should update your motherboard BIOS. I just want to say a quick shout out to all my YouTube members who joined my YouTube members group. I really do appreciate the support. Whether you're tier 1, tier 2 or tier 3 support, I do appreciate it. I shall catch you in the next video. Bye for now.